such a funny interview.
No, it's not. Hey, family. How you doing? So you guys already know me. I am Taylor Andre, Taylor Made Real Estate Easy, and I am going to make your life even easier. So if you own a home, you have a great relationship with your landlord, you have an auntie, uncle, cousin, friend that owns a home, this is a conversation that's going to be uber important for you and everyone you for anybody who pays an electric bill, for anyone who pays a gas bill. And so this is Bakari. Bakari has been my solar expert for over 18 months. And that's how long it took me to get solar. It took like 6 months of trying to woo me in, and I had every excuse in the book. And had I acted immediately, I probably would have a lower rate than I currently do, because I was over here procrastinating and coming up with every excuse, and I had a million and one questions, but I felt like I had to do my due diligence. And I done shot myself in the foot, because even though I'm locked in at a great rate, I could have been locked in at a greater rate. And so really quickly, I'll tell you my story. And so I purchased a home, and it was my homestead, and I wanted to ensure that I had everything that I needed to make sure that my home was self-sufficient in one way or another. And so I looked at 4 different solar companies, and the prices were astronomical. And the companies that I was talking to was more so trying to sell me the entire system. I ended up working with Bakari because he taught me that, yes, you can buy the system, where nobody else was teaching me anything. They were just telling me what to do. And Bakari was like, let me show you something. And we went through very due diligence. And his patience with me was absolutely amazing. He needs a bonus, actually. And we went through all of my options, and I chose what was best for me. You guys know I'm really big on informed decisions. And so he gave me all the information. I was able to make the decision that was not only good for me today, but was going to be most beneficial for me and my family in the future. And so I am really happy that I decided to work with solar and transition my home from just electric, working with Eversource, to being an Eversource customer that gets charged $15 for a service fee, even though I only use $5 of electricity.
You're talking about the public meter?
Yes. No, not exactly. Yes, $5. And so without any further ado, please meet Bakari, who will introduce himself. Aside from being super patient, super informative, and stressing me out because of this new information that Eversource has put out. I did not know that over the course of the last 6 months, they've had listening sessions all across Massachusetts for this $1 trillion.
It's a $2.4 billion investment into the grid in order to bring the grid up to some level of code standard, probably the baseline level of where it needs to be just to roughly sustain what we've been using.
Okay. So you told me that the first thing, how old is our system?
Getting closer to 140-year-old grid system. I mean, Massachusetts is one of the oldest states in the nation, and it has probably the oldest grid system in the nation. And again, when it was originally built, again, horse and buggy, like just nothing that we have today that we use on a regular basis did they even it wasn't even dreamed of. Like you said, it's like we had maybe radio was, something that people were thinking about.
We had telephones back then. Did we not? A little crank operator connect me to?
Here's the thing. I like to talk about the stuff I know for a fact. So I'll say this. I don't want to be like, nah, we didn't have telephone, because I don't know when the first telephone was invented and all that. But what I do know, and the Google can help us in that respect. But what I will say for sure is We definitely didn't have iPads, cell phones, TVs with the big backs, nor the flat screen joints. We didn't have those. We definitely didn't have mini splits, electric water heaters, electric cars. We didn't have washer dryer. Like
Dishwasher, like all the things that we
Dishwasher.
have today, we didn't have. And in April of 1877, in Somerville, Massachusetts, in the home of Charles William Jr., an electric telegraph equipment manufacturer, the line connected William's home to his factory in Boston, 3 miles away. Fun fact.
Well, there you have it.
Yes.
So I mean, yeah, as far as I'm concerned, like the grid didn't anticipate needing to support this much electricity usage. And then obviously the population was much smaller, over 100 years ago than it is today. So all these people, everybody needs electricity. We use it for so many things, blow dryers, like, you know what I mean? Like all kinds of stuff. So everything we got, we use an AC, heat, if you got space heaters and all that type of stuff. Some houses have electric heat because they don't have another option. So a lot more people use electricity. The grid takes on a lot of stress to try to get everybody all this electricity. And then in the New England area, they've been decommissioning power plants because nuclear plants are not safe. I think we all pretty much understand that. So
Pause. Did you guys remember back in the day we used to have like nuclear drills and you had to like get underneath the table just in case like what the hell is getting under the table going to do? I always wondered that as a kid. Like, first of all, I didn't understand what a nuclear plant was doing, but then like if we actually had a nuclear blowout, what was getting under the desk going to do?
Psychologically calm you somehow. Yeah. Matter
But
of fact,
can you tell them about Texas? Because I think it's important for us to understand like why Texas went through, like, so many people didn't have electricity for like 2 weeks.
There are 3 grid systems in the United States. There's the Eastern grid system. There's the Western grid system. And that means all these states are, intertwined and connected with one another. Whether or not you have a different provider in an area, it doesn't necessarily matter. That grid is still connected. Eversource and National Grid, their grids.
Oh, so it doesn't even
connected.
matter if it's like Connecticut Power.
Right.
They're still connected to the same grid as us.
Those titles are just responsible for servicing certain areas.
And
they're responsible for it for X, Y, Z amount of years. And then, maybe they can, negotiate to service a different part or a different section of the grid. But they're just who's responsible for delivering you the power in that particular area. But at the end of the day, the grid itself is it's all connected. So the eastern side, the western side, and then because Texas is unique, special, and the Lone Star State, they decided, hey, we want to have our own grid. We don't want to be connected to the rest of the United States grid. And therefore, when their power is out, they are solely reliant only on themselves. And very recently, like over the recent years, it's become a deadly issue in the winters when they have those like freeze overs and things of that nature happen. And again, I know a lot of stuff about like solar electricity grids and so on and so forth. I do not know a ton of specifics regarding Texas and certain other places, and so I know enough to say that I don't want to speak too specifically about different things that are going on there because I just don't necessarily have all those answers, and I don't want to pretend to. But in the long and short, because the grid is so old and requires so much maintenance and is essentially overused, not only is it really expensive for like a lot of America, but Boston is in the top 3, or Massachusetts rather is in the top 3 for highest cost for electricity. I don't even specifically know exactly why that is.
Because everything we do is high.
Yeah, but like we're even higher than like places like New York, where it's just like you would think New York would be higher than us, but they're not. I know like Hawaii is really expensive. Um,
I can imagine that because in the middle of a.
Yeah. They're like disconnected from the.
So heating and cooling are the biggest users of electricity in a home, typically accounting for 40 or 50% of your electric bill. Heating generally uses more electricity than cooling throughout the year. That's crazy because I always thought like AC was higher than the heat.
Well, yeah, because usually your heat tends to be gas powered, so you don't really see it reflected on the electricity bill very often. If you are someone who heats electrically, those people know about those high but no, they know in the wintertime that their electricity bill. I have electric heat. I'm in Chelsea. Like I have everything in my house is electric. It's not a house, it's an apartment, but so them bills
is high. So right now in the state of Massachusetts, residents are paying upwards to $300 a month, which is $3,600 a year, which is actually 39% higher than the national average being 2,588. And so we are 39% higher than the national average. But there's some new information that just came out. Pull out the phone, read it, because this is it. When I tell you it blew my, like, we are here today at midnight talking about this because I'm stressed out.
She's stressed out, and she has solar, and she has what's the
I'm
credit?
stressed
Wait, hold
out.
on. What's the credit you say you have on your bill?
We ain't gonna talk about.
No, what is it? What does Eversource owe you on the bill?
They owe me over $1,000.
She is. We still in the middle of summer. She got a ton of credits, and she talking about she's stressed out about what's gonna happen in 24 years. Listen, she's hilarious, as y'all well know.
Let me tell you why I'm stressed out though, because this man was like, "Yo, bill's about to be like $200 more per month." I said, "Hold on, what?" He's just like, "Yo, look, let me do the math. Plus, and it's like 35% higher."
So, hold on.
I'm stressed out for y'all.
Is there a way for you to share with them?
Share screen? We could do that.
Well, even like the photo that I sent you of the articles.
Yes.
Because then they can just
read it themselves. Yeah, well, I can't because you don't have iPhone, and so it came to me.
You have it.
I know, but you sent it to me in an iPhone. I mean, in a text. What's the name? In a text. Send it to my email. If you send it to my email, I can share. So I'm stressed out for my clients. I'm stressed out for people that I know that are looking to purchase or looking to sell soon and want to keep as much money in their pocket as possible. I'm stressed out for everybody who's not me. So when I think about certain problems and certain issues, I'm Karen. I want to speak to a supervisor every time. And when I make a complaint, it's not about me making a complaint for me. It's like, it's more than just me. I can't be the only person complaining about this thing. And if this is what is the norm, what about the other people who aren't going to raise their voice, or people who don't feel like they can say something, or someone who is always silent about a problem? I'm speaking on behalf of everybody else that can't or won't speak for themselves. And so, yes, when I read this and it have Eversource letterhead on it, I am stressed out for people that pay their electric bill. My electric bill was high as hell. That's why I was like, okay, fine. I have to find a solar company. Everything in my house is electric, from my heating to my AC to my cooking to taking a shower. Everything in my house is electric, and it was costing me an arm and a leg. One of my bills was like $550. I was like, this is insane. This doesn't even make sense. I'm in America. And then I was like, listen, like, God gave me sunlight, so let me use this accordingly. And so that's why I decided to get solar, so I could just tap in to God's given light, even though they're trying to use chemtrails to block out the sun. So I have to pay a higher electric bill. But I'm stressed. I really am stressed out for all y'all. Bakari is going to send me
I sent you.
You sent it to me on what email address did you use? At Gmail? Yeah, I just got it. Like I'm really my feelings are hurt for you guys. And even for me, even though I have another few years, it's just a few years. If you let me tell it. So I'm gonna share my entire screen. Ignore that real quick so we can get to the email. All right. So
and honestly, we could just go with the first one. This is simple enough. I can talk about the other one. But
okay.
This is
so
easier.
let's.
So I don't know. I don't even know this program or how it works, but
yes.
I guess leaving it like this is fine.
Mm-hmm. They can see it.
All right, bet. So this is an article from the Globe.
But I want to make sure they can see it. See it. I want it to be big for y'all. Y'all don't even have to see me. Look at this bullshit.
All right, boom. So both Eversource and National Grid, they are tasked with having to put $2.4 billion into the grid as it currently exists in order to bring it up to some level of code.
We just gave Ukraine $2.4 billion. Why they got to take it from us? I'm sorry.
Fix the grid is probably $1 trillion project.
We just sent that to Ukraine and Israel.
Okay. Well, yes, we did. Yes, we did. So the fixing the grid will cost $1 trillion or more. They do not,
have the money.
This is the 2.4 billion is essentially to patch up.
Patch up. That's not even fixed. That's
it would cost us $1 trillion to do it
the right way.
2.4 billion on it, which is nowhere near $1 trillion. But that would get it up to an area where they're at least like, okay.
So this isn't a new car. This is just the oil change.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
We want to handle the
put
some
plugs
on it to just so we can. This is gonna get me to working back.
This ain't a full tank of gas. This is $5.
Absolutely, yeah. You go and you be like, yo, let me get $3.80 on pump 6, and then I'm gonna get this Nutri-Grain bar. You know what I'm saying? You might change from the 10.
There is no change.
That's what it is. So. Right. All right. And then if we scroll, and then again, I circled that this is in February.
This was in February.
They announced this.
Did anybody notice? Did anybody read this? Was this a part of the news? I don't watch TV. I don't have cable. So maybe you knew about this. I didn't. I'm just now finding out about it 8 months later.
If you don't watch TV, this is in the Globe. So people, if people ain't watching TV, they definitely ain't reading.
They be giving me like 99-cent offers for the year, but I feel like that 99 cents gonna be $100 next year. So
if you try to go onto the internet and find this Globe article, when I go to find a Globe article, it'd be like, oh, pay $1 to see this. Like, you like it pops this thing up that blocks the screen and be like, pay $1, and I'm like,
I'm not doing that. You know what you do? You go to Twitter.
Yeah, I found it somewhere else and I screenshot it because I was like, I'm not paying $1 for the information.
Who got the login code? Like the Netflix? Who got the login code?
Facts. Patch me in with the Globe. But so effectively the rest of what it says on here is that the homes in mass could consume nearly 3 times as much electricity by 2050 than they do today. So as much as we think we have everything that needs to be electric, I know for a fact like they're no longer doing any more like gas water heaters and things like that. Like everything that they're doing essentially from here on out will be electric.
Boogie woogie woogie. You didn't know it was corny Bakari.
I didn't. Somehow I didn't see that coming. Excellent though. And then even the other things like we were talking about electric cars.
Yeah.
Electric cars are a thing now. There will be electric car port charger stations
already hooked up to new construction. We already see that in real estate. Mm-hmm.
And be that as it may, those may exist and we may not have them, but it doesn't matter. They will still affect the cost of electricity here because if more electricity needs to come to the state of Massachusetts to charge cars and to do other things, we the payers of electricity,
we the people,
of the United States of Massachusetts will have to pay the cost of importing more power to this state one way or another. So all of that gets specified here when they're basically telling us to deliver the extra power. Eversource and Nat Grid are going to invest billions into the infrastructure.
AKA, you gonna have to pay.
Yep. And then, the utility company will turn to us to pick up the tab. So when you look at your bill, if you ever look at the bill, there are a load of charges that basically break down and tell you that you pay for the power to come from here, get transitioned to here, get transmitted to there. All those charges, they've added renewable energy charges. Those fund the program that I deal with. They've added solar, specifically solar charges, whether you have solar or not, it's on your bill. If you are a National Grid user, you have an electric vehicle charge on that bill as well. These are just charges that are there, whether you have the stuff or not, because the state of Massachusetts is funding these things one way or the other because they do not have a choice. So I really am interested in what those meetings would have been like, because the reality is,
yo, they knew not to have them damn meetings. Wasn't not one meeting in the city of Boston. They had one in Quincy, they had one in Worcester, they had one in Lawrence, and I don't remember hearing nothing about come to this meeting ever.
But I really don't even know what people would do though, because even if people could complain all they want, but if that's just what it costs to fix this stuff, that's just what it costs. You know what I'm saying?
I'm about to pull up my Eversource bill. Y'all about to see, in case you don't ever look at your bill.
Yeah.
You see that. Ask me how excited I am. And you see, let me show you my bill. Okay? I want you to see my bill. Because this is embarrassing. Give me a second to pull this up so I could take out my address, even though half of y'all know where I live already. This is the part that made me so mad. I'm so frustrated. Watch this.
That's a public meeting.
Yep. Look at this nonsense. $5.54. Okay?
Mhm.
But why the bill $24.99?
To deliver you that $5 worth of power. You all be telling people, man, they ain't trying.
Yo, how you charging me $20 for this $5 that I used, B? This is crazy.
Good times. You know what else? They just finally added it to the Eversource bill. You see how at the bottom you got electric vehicle program?
Yep.
Now again, it's 4 cents, so I'm not trying to act like,
no, that 4 cents actually.
No, but watch this. Here's the thing: it's 4 cents now because, respectively, there ain't that many electric vehicles. There are a lot. You see them every day, but in terms of them needing to split that up amongst all the Eversource users, it's like there's not that much. So it's like, okay, this can be 4 cents for you. This is also a smaller amount of usage because you're multiplying it against how many kilowatts you use on the public meter that don't come on unless somebody walks in the hallway, right?
Yeah.
So 39 kilowatts is not a lot. It's like most people, the average house is using 600 or something like that kilowatts a month, and in reality, that number now would be a bit different, right? Like it would at least be 10 to
you said
15 times as much as that number, which is again still not a lot. If you did that number times 600, again, it's still not going to be a crazy amount.
Hold on, but what does this equate to? Is that 61 cents? Or no, because you have to do it.
Yeah, 61. Yeah, that's almost like 62 cents, right? Instead of being 4 cents.
It would be 62 cents.
It'd be 62 cents. Now here's the thing. Now imagine, okay, electric cars.
Yeah.
Think 5 years ago. It was like there weren't that many electric cars 5 years ago. Remember at one point electric cars were kind of a joke, like, yo, in the future there's gonna be cars that drive themselves.
Okay, pause.
Mm-hmm.
What was the movie that OJ Simpson was in when he had an afro and he was walking through the
I don't think I ain't watching no movies.
You're not that old? You're not that old?
I ain't watching movies with OJ in them.
You crazy. You sure did. OJ Simpson as an actor. Naked Gun. He was in Naked Gun. And if you look at like Naked Gun had like future car. They had like the solar panels on the car. They had mad stuff. They had solar panels on the like your windows were supposed to be made of solar panels. So I'm still trying to figure that out. Like how we don't have that yet.
They'll probably get there one day.
We're there now. They just don't want to give it to us.
Who's holding it back?
I don't know.
So,
but you basically, the long story short, we can lock in our rate, correct? And how do we lock in our rate?
Yeah, for sure. So if you are in an area that is serviced by National Grid, Eversource, Unitil, for the New Hampshire homies that have
you say Unitil?
Unitil, yeah. Unitil, Wameco.
Oh,
yeah.
Unitil.
And then if you're in
what
New
about
Hampshire,
PSNN?
What's that, New Hampshire?
Yes.
I can check for those. The problem with some of these places is they don't. So you see, I was talking about those charges that are on the bill.
Yeah.
Some towns, some places are what they call municipalities. They have bartered to have their own electricity delivery, and they do not pay into those programs. They don't pay. They don't have a solar charge or renewable energy charge or any of those things. So since they don't participate in that, typically it's harder for those people to get solar. Like there are less options for them. A lot of times they can only like purchase their system out. It doesn't mean I can't help them get a system. It just means that they might actually have to pay something up front versus people who have National Grid, Eversource, Unitil. They have options to not necessarily have to spend anything out of pocket up front to get a system. And I'll say typically 98% of the time, if you do get a system, you're usually able to reduce your power cost and fix that cost in a way that obviously you just cannot do with the utility company. It's case by case. It is a little bit different from home to home and situation to situation. Furthermore, and for some people just don't like the idea of solar, and I understand that, that they may not like the idea of solar. A lot of conversations I've had with people about doing things like this, if people have really old like electrical units that
like fuse
cause
boxes,
them, cause them issues when it's like, oh, if I run the microwave and the dishwasher at the same time, it knocks my power out and I gotta go reset the switch. It's like times like that. It's like we've been able to fix those for homeowners. Roofs and structural issues, and trees that are giving you a problem that you need trimmed or cut, trenching, other different things that may be in the same bandwidth of like solar projects. It's like very often those things are able to get taken care of, and
like
monetary contributions. Roof? Yeah, roofs. Like I've redone, I don't know, countless roofs at this point over the 6 years that I've been doing this. And in many cases, the entirety of the cost is covered. Not all cases, obviously. Like that's
the people are here. Look them in their eyes.
I mean, they ain't here. They over there, but they ain't in here. So it's hard.
I know, but people like it when I trust Bakari, but I need you to look them in the eyeballs so they can trust you too and understand that I'm trying to get y'all locked in. Because if you ain't locked in, you about to start paying 30% more.
Yeah, I didn't talk about that.
Yeah, I'm stressed out.
But even before we get to the what that increase specifically looks like, to finish that point, yes, roofs, electrical, just a lot of different situations where it may cost you upwards of $10, $15, $20, $25,000 to fix your home on your own, it's like the program tends to have funds that would be able to sometimes just alleviate the cost completely, but in most cases reduce the cost significantly. I'll just put it like that so that I don't have to like walk anything back later. But it is case by case. It costs nothing for me to take a look and see what everybody's situation is like. So obviously you guys have my information. You can reach out. And
please don't ever. So I was referred, and the person I was referred to, their bill looked completely different from me.
Okay.
But I also referred you to my neighbor whose bill looks completely different from mine. And then her bill looks completely different from someone that she referred. So please, like, if somebody's told you about their bill, do not take that for face value to represent what you're going to see in a good way or a bad way, like negatively or positively. You cannot. It's basically like purchasing a home. It's basically like real estate, because everybody's financial situation is different and everybody's bill is different. Everyone's household square footage is different. Your heating is different. What is actually covered in your electric is different. And so you can never hear somebody else's experience and akin that to what you may or may not experience for yourself.
That was a great point.
And so when I call you, Bakari, at 617-833-8940, what's going to happen?
I'm say hello. Who sent you? No, but you'll definitely want to let me know that Taylor is, where you've heard about me. And then from there, typically usually there's probably like a 3-minute brief. Here's how the program actually works in Massachusetts. I'll probably reiterate some of the things I just said. Like if you're in an area with National Grid, Eversource, or Unitil, you will have the option of going a particular way about it. If you're not, that's okay. We'll still look at stuff for you. And then other than that, if you have a recent utility bill, something that you can send over, that usually allows me to respond back to you in a couple of days with an apples to apples look at, hey, here's where you are now. Here's what we think we can actually do, like just digitally, before we ever like look into what that would look like in real life. Because obviously at some point they would need to come out and measure to make sure that, oh, Bakari thinks we can fit 15 panels here. Is that actually realistically possible? But
let me cut you off there, because I thought I was going to get 100 panels. I wanted to put them on the ground, on the porch, on my car. That was unrealistic, and I was a little delulu, and so I don't have all the panels I think I should have.
That's funny. It's also funny because when I looked at the design that the other company sent you, it was crazy. Like they had panels in places that wasn't even a roof there, and they were just like, so we're gonna do 600 panels for you. And I was just like, listen, I'm not here to say what someone can and can't do, but I was just like, this isn't even roof at this point. So I don't know where. It was interesting. And again, I talk like this, where I'm just like, I try to refrain from like making just promises or saying like, I know we can do X, Y, and Z, because it's like, what I know for a fact is that
when you're going to save money.
Well, just when they come out and they measure stuff, then I can tell you after that with certainty, like that this can be done. But before that, everything is just, a hypothesis. Like, hey, this is what we're looking at. This is how stuff should go. And then I pretty much I answer obviously all the questions that anybody would have for me.
How many did I have in comparison to other people?
Honestly, you're not as bad as you think you were. You had a lot of questions, which you should, and you also know a lot about just real estate and houses and like other very specific things that would make you inquisitive. And then I know you're also dealing with other homeowners too, so it's knowing for yourself also, but also knowing in a way that
I can teach.
You can teach, and even if you're gonna sell or recommend somebody to buy a home and that home has solar, it's like now it is really important for you to know about solar in a bit of a different way. Also, versus somebody that's just like, this is my house and it's going to go down in the lineage with my kids. It's like they're not actually worried about like, hey, what about transferring this and that, stuff like that. But still, things that I always explain to every homeowner, even if they tell me that they're not thinking about doing anything like that, I explain those things. Just like you mentioned to everybody earlier, I have people that are just like, hey, I would never want to not own the system if it's on my house. It's like, all right, cool. Like, but I still explain all the ways because again, if you don't know all the ways, then you just don't know what your actual options are or the benefits of doing, any particular way. So I just make sure everybody understands those things. And then I don't really have a dog in the race. My dog in the race is obviously solar. I think it makes sense for probably 95% of the people I talk to. Every once in a while, it don't make sense. And I'll let people know that I had a homeowner one time. Like, they had an electric car already. This was like 3 years ago. Like, they had an electric car. They were asking me, like, how do I get solar? Because they were just one of those rare people that are just like, I want to do this. And they showed me their bill. Showed me they had National Grid. They were in Medford. Showed me their bill. I don't know what the issue was. $6 a month. Every month.
$6?
$6 a month.
How? There was a $15 fee.
No, but I think it was just like I don't know, like a meter glitch or something. So they just had $6 a month every month.
Can they come glitch mine?
I told the person, I was like, listen, man.
You don't want solar.
I told him, I was like, I'm not telling you so. I was like, listen, bro, do whatever's happening here, keep this going. I was like, don't.
When this changes, then call me.
I was like, and and if it had changed by now, they probably forgot all about me because it's been years. But I just told them, I'm like, listen, it doesn't make sense. I'll go follow up with them. But in reality, I was like, this doesn't make. I'm like, even though you're asking me, like, like how could I go about getting it? I'm like, this wouldn't make sense for you, like in this particular instance. But it's very rare that there's a scenario where it doesn't make sense for somebody unless they just can't we can't construct a design for you for different reasons.
Because the roof won't allow. So one of the last things that I want to say is the reason why I chose not to purchase my system is because my auntie, shout out Auntie Anna. Auntie Anna has had solar ever since like Anari was a baby. So over 20 years, she had solar, and she was just like, if there's a hailstorm, I'm not going up there to fix it. I'm not going to be responsible to pay for it. And so that's what really like deterred me from purchasing a system, aside from having like another mortgage that cost as much as my house. But buying the system itself was like, I don't want to be responsible, and we don't know what the weather is going to be like. And so I didn't want to have to pay. If there's a fire on the house, God forbid, they replace it. If, one of them breaks and falls to the ground, they replace it. Mind you, can I say who installed it?
Yeah.
Yo, Tesla was at my house installing solar panels, B. So I was like, where are they going?
Well, this wasn't Tesla. This was Sunrun. Tesla does like the batteries and stuff for Sunrun, but they don't do the install. This is Sunrun.
So the old guy, they had Tesla t-shirts on, and I was just like, so Tesla's just at my house right now? And they were like, well, I used to work for Tesla, but this company pays me more.
So, I mean, it's funny. Tesla is such an interesting solar prospect, honestly, because they have transitioned themselves from doing like residential solar. They only focus on like basically like major like solar projects now, and then batteries. So
because they ain't about that small money, they about that big money.
I mean, because Elon he like this like groundbreaking dude, so he's constantly like
the next one. You saw him
like the next big thing.
His underground tunnel.
Yeah.
Yo, who did? He was just like, I was sick of sitting in traffic, so I just built a tunnel
for Teslas. Like, so it's just like, yo,
to be that rich. I don't want much, Bakari. Just want an underground tunnel so I can travel. So I thank you because it's like midnight. Today's tomorrow. Today is tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So I appreciate you.
It is what it
we
is.
spent some time together.
We did.
Educated.
Big things are going. Oh, last thing. So I'd be remiss not to say it about the percentage. So NatGrid, they put out their little article, and they said starting in October.
Get your system. Call Bakari before October so you can get locked in.
All right. So starting in October 1st, 2024, they're looking to go up because they have to fund this $2.4 billion. So this has to come from somewhere. So they're expecting to go up 3.7% per month, every month.
Yo, and this is so hard for me to read, but it really does say this though. It says if you use 600 kilowatts, I was at like 1,400, right? 600 kilowatts per month will experience a $7.86 or 3.7% per month.
Starting in October 1st.
Per month.
For this 5-year project.
That's 35%, 37% over the course of 10 months. Mm-hmm. So whatever your bill is now, 37%, it starts in October. So
in 12 months, that's like 40-ish.
So October of 2025, whatever your bill is now, imagine that bitch being 40% more.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's
crazy.
So the reality here is this: everybody cannot get solar. There's a few different reasons why certain people cannot. All I'm ever going to do is look and see what, first of all, if it looks like you can, and then second of all, if it looks like it's valuable for you. If it's not valuable for you, I'll be the first to let you know, because obviously I don't want to do all the extra work if it's not going to be valuable for you. Just keeping it a buck. And then secondly, if it is valuable for you, I'll let you know. You still don't have to do it. Like you never have to do anything, but it is good to know and to get the information. It's hard to know where to get information these days. There's a ton of commercials out here that's like, yo, this is free and that's free and blah, 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 blah. Solar is not free. It does cost something. There are scenarios where you don't have to actually pay anything up front and you will just have a lower monthly cost, but it still costs something. Yeah. So I like to be clear about that.
I pay $200 per month, period. Mm-hmm. That's $200 a month, period. That's all I pay is the $200 a month. How much was my bill when I shared it with you?
I can't remember.
It was like $400, $370. I was just like, but is it really going to be cheaper? He was like, is $200 cheaper than $450? Yo.
I'm not always sassy.
Yo, Bakari was so frustrated with me. I was just like, but what? And the truth is, like, I could have got a better rate, though. I could have had a better rate had I just, like, listened and just followed through instead of being a headache and asking a million questions.
It's all good, but I want to, I want to implore people to ask questions. Like I am a fan of people asking questions. I'm confident. There's nobody's gonna ask me a question that scares me. And honestly, if I can't answer a question for you, then that should just kind of, that should either be a sign. That doesn't mean I know everything. Sometimes there's something I don't know the answer to, and I'll let you know that and try to find the answer. But I'm just not here to pretend. So, I say all that to say, feel free to reach out to me and then, get some questions answered, because most people, I would say, are 2-3 questions away from actually truly considering whether or not solar makes sense. We've heard a bunch of things, from different areas, different angles. People do different things. Taylor just said, like, hey, I wouldn't want to own it. There are some people that it makes 1,000% sense to own it. You know what I mean? And that's just better for them. I know people that are electricians that are like, yeah, if something goes wrong, I know exactly what to do. It's all good. And it just makes more sense for them to own it, but for everybody, it's a different thing. Let's see what makes sense for you guys,
And so I pulled up the email that you sent me. If approved by the DPU, and they've been approving all the dumb shit all year round, a typical resident customer receiving basic service using 600 kilowatts per month will experience an increase of $7.86 or 3.7% per month. And I'm like, hold on. Like, this is like a math equation. Like, read that again so I can better understand. So I was just like, it's 3.7%. And he's like, no, 3.7% every month. Absolutely not, Jasmine Jadlin. And so October 1st, please get your system. Call Bakari. Let's start now. Get your questions answered.
It obviously takes a little more time than we have to be able to get people's systems by October 1st. But because of, like, obviously there's other things that have to come into play. Like, your house has to be approved by both the utility and by the city. What took you so long to get your system was the city of Boston.
Yeah, because they said that I live in an area. Yeah, they was asking dumb things.
I had to go down to the permit office. I had to do a whole bunch of stuff. But
I had to have a conversation with Jesus.
I think you ended up calling down there, or like reaching out to them too. To like, it was.
What's
like
my neighbor card?
Yeah, it was the thing. It was the thing. So the utility, the city didn't necessarily make everything super easy either. But again, that's a part of why it's important to like have a solid rep, somebody that can obviously help go to bat for you. And you were awesome too, because you helped to fight that fight, which it eventually helped to get you your system
on one accord.
Yeah. So
no, you know what it was? They told me that we didn't have a permit. There was
the permit, because they added like 4 things to the permit. They were like, oh, you live like near a park. They're like, and then they were like, oh, like, will your system reflect up and like blind like pilots, like they have like all these things that like they never have for like people that live in other areas. But they like so I had to talk to like Parks and Recs. I had to talk to like just like a handful of different entities that. And I'm
an advocate for me every time, and you. So if you need any help, you already know how to find me. www.taylorandre.com. You can book any type of consultation that you need. If you currently have a home and you're looking to sell and you want to go ahead and add a system on, Bakari.
There it is.
If you need a new roof, and you don't want to pay for it.
I mean, seriously, you just had somebody that purchased a home with you.
Yep.
And then
the roof was gone bad, like Drake.
The roof was down bad. We just replaced the roof, installed a system for them. She recommended her mom. Same situation. The mom was going to need a new roof and and a system as well. So. We in there, we working, but that's such a beautiful thing for them. They bought a house, and then through this program, they end up with a new roof and a fixed bill right before crazy rates and increases go up and all that stuff like that. So, if we can help people, I'm down to help people. I would love to be able to help, like, what I'm saying, like my people that look like me too, because I know we have it bad with property value, all these types of things, and like these things just help the property values be better and greater, what I'm saying, like in our communities. Like that would be awesome. I help a lot of people in other communities too. I think they also are a little bit more willing to take advantage of some of the programs and stuff that exist. And sometimes I just feel like we also don't necessarily know.
Informed decisions. Right. So that's why we are here today, informing you, so you can then call up Bakari and you guys can sit down and find out whether or not this is the best decision for you and your family, for not just now when this hike is about to begin October 1st, which is literally a month and a half away, but also 24 years from now when I'll be stressed out because I need a new system. Oh my God. Hilarious. I thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. And so does Bakari. 100. What's the number? How do I call you? How do I find you? Where do you service? What if I live in Western Mass? What if I live in Plymouth?
These are all great questions. I think Plymouth is, I know I'm in Plymouth. I was going to say, I think it's a municipality. It's not. So I'm able to work in roughly 28 different states. So.
Oh, he said he gets flued out. That's what he did.
So I'm in different states. So really, whatever state you're in, you can
Just
contact
call
me
and
it's
figure it
all
out.
good. Phone number is 617-833-8940. 617-833-8940. And obviously, let me know that Taylor sent you. You know what I mean? I try to make sure that she's looked after for holding me down and directing anybody my way that I could possibly assist. And again, it's it's zero pressure with me. Like at the end of the day, we're gonna have a conversation, and I'm gonna answer some questions. Obviously, you do with the information what you will. Would love to help if I can, but maybe I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I don't know. And if that's what it is, that's okay too. But I've helped a lot of people over the 6 years. Proud of the work I do. So,
Thank you, Bakari. And I'm no longer nervous for you guys because I gave you the information that you needed to make informed decisions. But I'm going to be stressed out in 24 years when I need a new system because electric's going to be $1 million a month.
We're now going up 640% per month.
That's what that advertiser just said. 40% today, 640 tomorrow.